August, I decided to book a trip to Patagonia. It might have been CNN News that put up, they did a whole series on it, and it interested me. And I've never been there before. I never heard of it before. Where's Patagonia? So I went.
Carol Sue Gershman is 87 years old. Can you believe it? She's an author, world traveler, and she has a story to tell about a recent trip that is terribly interesting. So stay tuned and listen to Carol Sue Gershman.
You are watching CNJN with host Phyllis Haynes.
I am so delighted to have a chance to talk with you, Carol Sue Gershman. You are amazing. I read about you in the publication called Three Tomatoes. I love that publication. Uh, it's really a place for women to express themselves and tell stories. And I read your article. Um,
Which
let's
one? Which
well, I
one?
read your article about your trip to Patagonia and Chile.
That was most recent, yes.
And it was so exciting to me. But before we get to that piece, I want to know about you because I'm known for interviewing extraordinary people, but I have never met anyone, and I don't like to talk about age, but I've never met anyone your age so vibrant and so willing to talk to me and be on in an interview situation live on camera using Zoom. Tell me about what makes you so vibrant.
Well, it's hard to really tell you that, except so far in life, I suppose I've been lucky. Or I have always thought of myself as young. I don't, I think I'm young right now. I don't know, I don't care what age I ever reach, whatever plateau. I never thought of myself as an older person. But I'm telling you what keeps me going, and it isn't really anything planned or anything that I have made up that I want to do. It's come very naturally. I don't care if I was 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. I never felt old. Never. And I would never let myself look very old. I didn't, it was you must understand this. It was not anything I did on purpose. It was just me naturally, just like what you do naturally. I my love was to dress dress the way that I want to dress. I didn't care if it was in style, not in style, how expensive, how cheap, as long as I got had a kind of a flashiest kind of look. I like that a lot. I have toned down, I must admit. Um, Looking at myself twice now to make sure that the clothes I have are right for me, but they are so far. So, what's kept me vibrant is always keeping myself going. I'm always thinking about something to do, and there's always a plan. It just is the way I am. I like to accomplish things.
Well, you are 87 years old. Is that accurate? That's phenomenal. Now, you took a trip to Chile.
I did.
Um, what was your original purpose in going to Chile? Why did you choose that place?
Okay, I've been a very, well, would you call me a world traveler? I've gone to many, many places in the world. And at this point in my life and at my age, I want to always go somewhere that I haven't been before. So I was going to be in Miami, and my family is there, actually Boca. And I knew I didn't want to stay 3 or 4 months as they did. So I went for a month, and in August, I decided to book a trip to Patagonia. It might have been CNN News that put up, they did a whole series on it, and it interested me. And I've never been there before. I never heard of it before. Where's Patagonia? So I went. That's it. I booked the trip in August, and that was my destination. Fly into Santiago, Chile, and then from there, I had no idea how I was even going to get to Patagonia. And I did research, and I tried this, and I tried that. And guess what? I knew, just go. Check yourself into a hostel, and within 3 or 4 hours, you will know exactly where you're going. And that's what I did.
So you stayed in a hostel. I mean, I'm sure people listening to this would think, okay, she must have been traveling high style,
No,
doorman and all of that, but you stayed in a
no.
hostel. Can you describe the hostel you stayed in? And this
Oh,
is
yes. Well,
in
I stayed in,
Santiago?
yes. I stayed in two, actually. The first one was, I don't remember the name of it, but when I walked into the hostel, they said, Carol, you're here. I mean, that's how nice it was. I didn't have to stand in line at one of these ritzy hotels, waiting to be served before the Carol, welcome. I like that a lot. And then they showed me to my, one thing I'll tell you, I do not go to dorms. Forget that.
You
I,
do
I,
not go to, say it
I
again?
don't sleep in dormitories. No
Okay,
way. I sleep in private. I always have a private room and bathroom. So that makes the difference. So what's the
sure.
difference if I'm in a hostel or I'm in a fancy hotel? Then you go downstairs, people are there. Hey, where were you? Oh, I just got back from Patagonia. Oh, tell me about it. I'm going. And that is how I learned where and when I was going to go.
Now, if I were going to do that, I would have a chorus of friends and family saying, you can't go alone. You can't go by yourself. You can't travel to a place you've never been to. I might do it anyway, like you, but still, did you have a chorus like that behind you
No,
warning you not?
not anymore. Not anymore. They're very used to me traveling. But when we get on to the next topic, I will tell you something that relates to that. So that's how I got to Patagonia. And I went. It's so easy, it's ridiculous. They make it
Oh,
so.
how easy was it? Was it a direct flight?
Yeah, I went to the airport. I went to a direct flight to San Andreas, which is called Patagonia on the Chile side. And from there, one thing leads to another, and you go to this place and that place and the other place. And anyone interested, I am more than happy to send you my article on it. Or you could look it up at the Three Tomatoes, who did publish it.
Right, and we'll make sure people have access to write to you if they wish to find out more information. So let me just ask again, just so that we leave this story intact. Um, you say
Okay.
you went to this place and that place, but transport you don't speak Spanish, from what I understand in the
I
article.
do not, and it was tricky. There are not many Americans. There are not many English speaking people. However, I was in Chile a long time, 3 months, and I'll tell you why. No, 2 months. And I will tell you why. But as the time went, I did notice more and more Americans coming. I was very happy about that because Chile is not, it's not Rio, it's not Buenos Aires, so people truly don't go that much to Chile. But it's catching on, and you will be going to Chile.
Okay, well, we'll get to the reason you went to Chile, but let's take it where you want to go. I mean, so
Well, what happened? I assume the reason why we are meeting today is because of my articles on Three Tomatoes. So I had two articles. One was to Patagonia, and rather than me tell you this place or that place, I'll sum it up by saying when you go on tours, when you get to Patagonia and you take a day tour, which I do, into the mountains of Patagonia, you will never see scenery like that in your life. The only way to describe it is a picture postcard. that you took a picture of. And that's what it looks like. Nothing moves. It's like a picture postcard. It's beautiful. Very, very, very beautiful. So you could read my article on it. But going on to the next topic and why you wanted me to come on today, I think, Phyllis, is I had a show. I'm also a singer. And that's another whole story that I started about 12 years ago. Much to my, I couldn't believe it, okay? This was not anything I ever did in my life before. I'm going to be a singer. That's the most ridiculous thing. But I did become a singer.
Here. She's here from a tour, a worldwide tour of Europe. She's knocked them dead in Paris, and she's gonna knock you dead here. She's terrific.
So this song is dedicated to all the loves of my life because I kind of felt the same way about all of them. I've got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me. So deep in my heart, you're really a part of me. I've got you under my skin. And I did do shows. Okay, I do shows, and I will be doing 2 more in October, November. So what happened was I had a beautiful show in October, and I thought I looked very good at the show. You know, of course, I was all fancied up, whatever you want to say. And in November, in my own apartment, I looked in the mirror, and I said, oh my God, is that me? My face had drooped. My chin, my neck drooped. I said, I can't believe this. Now, I will admit, I am not a person, okay, I admire anyone that has gray hair. I admire, I mean, it's not that I admire them, I think it's fine. You want to have gray hair? Have gray hair. If you want not to do any Botox or do any injectables, well, fine. But that's not for me. I like to keep myself up. I was born into a very vain family, and in my own way, I do admit I'm vain. So when I saw myself in the mirror, I said, "Oh my God!" So I managed, I managed to get to see a doctor here in New York City, but he wasn't very much to my liking. And when I went to Miami and I saw another doctor, and he was so expensive and it was so perfect. I mean, his place was so, my God, it was like a palace. Too fancy for me. I like a little bit of home style, okay? So I passed him up. But then I said to myself, my God, I'm going to South America. They really specialize in women go all the time for plastic surgery, which is true. But what I did learn is not for our faces. They do their bodies. They like to do their breasts and their waists and their hips and their thighs. So as soon as I got into that first hostel, I went to, they spoke English at the desk, and I said, I picked out 4 doctors on the internet. Never heard of them in my life before. And I said, make me an appointment. And I made an appointment Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and got into an Uber each day. And I made a commitment to myself. I didn't like a doctor. I was not going to do it. But I found
You didn't like the doctor. You were not going to do it.
no. And I kind of know what I look for. My daughter says I'm very good at picking doctors. I don't go to them, but I think she means going for anything to do in the face. I'm very careful about that. So anyway, fortunately, I found this wonderful Dr. Gomez, um, and I said, am I really going to do this? Now, you ask the question, what does my family say? Then they became in an uproar. Mom, my sister, my friends, you can't do this. This is a foreign country. How do you know what the hospitals are going to be like? How do you know about the care? This is very foolish of you. I don't want you to do this. Come back to the United States and do it there if you want to. I knew what I was doing, 100%. I knew what this doctor would be. He was a handsome man. He was perfectly groomed in his own way. His office was in a home. It was, as soon as I walked in once again, Carol, nice to meet you, that kind of a thing. And I questioned myself and questioned myself. I did not pay a cent until I got all my answers. But it was probably the smartest thing I could ever do in my whole life, because the care, forget about what I look like, don't look like, the care is nothing, unfortunately, like we have in the United States. I'll tell you that. It's intensely fabulous. And
So
that's
you're saying it was better than you have experienced here from your.
100%, 1000%. I had it done in a private hospital. I was taken in, I was dressed in a gown that matched. They put on panties, they put on long socks to cover my legs, and a hat, navy blue and white. Yeah, it was a beautiful outfit.
But now, come on, Carol, let's get real because, I haven't been someone who's gone to the hospital very often in my life. I'm just fortunate. I knock on wood, I'm fortunate that way. I had a baby late in life, but I remember that when I did that, and I have a lovely daughter, but when I did that, I remember I was a little bit frightened. I kept saying, writing notes. What if something went wrong? This is what you do. That kind of thing. Now it all turned out very well, but I was much younger than what you are now. Were you not frightened at the point of when the surgery was actually going to begin?
Oh, that was my best day. I made
Really?
it. I got there early, earlier than they wanted me. I sat out on the grass looking at the Andes Mountains until it was time to go in. When I went in, hello, took me to this beautiful, like, I compare it to our emergency rooms, waiting rooms. Beautiful white couch, not couch, bed. Um, Nurses, clean, spotless. It was wonderful. Then finally, I said, "When are we going to do this?" And I go for the operation. They said soon, soon, and then I was wheeled up to the doctor, and there he was waiting for me. And I met the anesthesiologist. We decided, no, I was not going to have general. I just took what they call twilight, and if you have a what do you call it, colonoscopy, that's what they give you, that kind of thing, where you're asleep, but you wake right up. And then I was wheeled into this beautiful, I thought I was in Hollywood. That's how large the operation room was. And the doctors and the nurses, they were just running all around and preparing, jazz music playing. And I climbed up on the table and I went out for a little while. And then I woke up during it, but felt nothing. I was blindfolded. I mean, they had put things on your eyes. And I was talking to the doctor. Hey, doc, how are we doing? I didn't feel a thing, not a thing, but I was able to speak. And it was a delightful experience. They took me into recovery. I didn't need recovery. I said, why do I have to be here? Can't I go to my room and eat? And I was hungry. And I had to go through protocol, which was 1 hour. And then they took me to my lovely private room. If I so much as touched a buzzer, a nurse would appear spotlessly clean, beautiful, overlooking the Andes. So let me get into the cost. Are you interested in the cost?
Yeah, I'm interested in the cost, and we'll get to that.
Oh,
What I'm interested in is uh, how long it took you to recover. How many you didn't need the formal recovery, as you said. You were quickly out of recovery.
yeah.
Um, but how many weeks did you have to stay there to take stitches out and things like that?
Okay, I stayed one night in the hospital. Then I was taken home the next day in a taxi with someone that spoke English. She took me. Oh, I had decided not to take an apartment. I would stay in the hostel. I changed hostels, but I decided that's a better bet for me than being secluded in an apartment. I would have people to talk to. So I stayed there for $40 a night. Beautiful room, fresh open window. And I stayed for 2 weeks and 6 days. But the 6 days are not necessary. You can really leave in 2 weeks. When I booked the flight, I thought, well, in case. But there was no in case. And yes, stitches out and facials and lights on my face. And I just healed day by day. I looked different and it healed quickly. And
And you look amazing. So
happy. I have been
I
for
just
some.
I'm bowled over. I have to just tell you, I don't
Really?
usually get. I'm completely bowled over by your courage.
Oh,
I am bowled over by your willingness to take a stand for yourself, despite what I would call the societal chorus that that suggests you should live your age. I like that you haven't cut your hair. I like,
there's
yeah.
an article I read yesterday. My hair's
Mhm.
a mess today. I apologize to you, but I could not get to the beauty parlor yesterday. I'm going later, so I will
Okay.
fix my hair.
But you read an article, you started to say.
Long hair is in for ladies over 60.
Okay. Well, then that's good. I'm in style then.
That's
So,
what you are. Don't cut your hair.
okay. So the cost. I mean, recently there was a discussion about all these people who were in trouble because they went to Mexico for
Oh,
medical procedures. But you're saying your experience in Chile was very different. So
oh,
what was the cost for you?
okay, let me tell you the course in the United States for what I did. I did the lower face only. I did the chin and the neck area. Those were the places I did not like anymore. In New York, Miami, and California, to go to a top doctor is around $50,000 just for the doctor. I paid $6,000 for
Hmm.
everything, including the hospital, and $40 a night for the hostel to stay in the hostel. And I didn't mean to say including the hostel, including the hospital was 6,000. Then $40 a night times how many nights? And of course, I didn't count my plane fare because I was going anyway.
Right, right. No, I understand that. So that's I'm just impressed by your courage. So let me ask you a last question. You have a new book coming out.
I do.
Uh, Tell me the title of your new book because I want people to follow you, read you.
Thank
Um,
you.
I think you will lift a lot of boats. So what is the title of your new book?
Well, it's been changed several times, but it has now been finalized. The name of my title is You Are Only number sign ? Question mark years young. Let the fun begin. So,
That's amazing. We will make sure that's on the screen so people can see it. And I will come back to you when your book comes out. I will insist on another book, another interview. But just in closing, tell me, have you been married? You obviously had children.
I've had
Um,
two lifestyles. I was married at 19 to the love of my life. Um, We divorced several, many years later, 21 years later. I have 3 children. I have 5 grandchildren. And I baked cookies in the kitchen every single day of my life for 21 years. And then I became single. And my husband and I, we didn't even divorce at first. I was never a greedy person that wanted more money, more money, more money, never went to a lawyer. And we agreed between us. And I've lived my single life now for 45 years. I've never gotten married again.
Do you avoid sugar?
All the time.
You avoid sugar.
All the time.
Do you drink alcohol?
Never. Oh, I gave it up. I gave it up in 1999. That's 24 years ago. Never
Okay.
touched it since.
So there are some things that contribute to your good health.
Absolutely. Sleep.
Sleep. What about exercise?
Oh, yeah. I exercise all the time. I go into the pool. I'm fortunate to have a pool in my building. So I swim and I walk. I used to do yoga. I don't do it anymore. I'm a little lazy. But yes, exercise is a big part of my life. But I can't impress upon you how much sleep, how sleep is that should be top priority. I leave events to go to sleep.
On that note, I am sure we're going to do more conversations. You are just so special. I don't even have words to describe you. Thank you so much for your time and this
Thank you
lovely.
very much for inviting me on your lovely show and for reading the articles. And here's to the Three Tomatoes. It's a great group. Come to their summit. It's excellent.
Thank you so much, Kara. Bye-bye.